Welcome to the Scoop World Owners Game Day. Get ready to head down to the stadium in about 20 minutes. Get a little short show for you. Michigan prevails in Happy Valley. Penn State might have the dumbest coaching staff I've ever seen, and their quarterback is absolute trash. He is Christian Hackenberg 2.0. We're going to talk about the temporary restraining orders going on with Michigan. Talk a little bit about Ohio State, Michigan State. A lot of stuff going on tonight. Hopefully get some young guys in. That being said, appreciate you guys tuning in, kicking it as always. If you enjoy this content, leave a like, click subscribe, also click the little alert bell. Shout out what you guys are doing for the game, where you guys watching from, and we will do a post-game show late, provided that the traffic is not horrendous, which it always is after a night game. Nevada, we just sat and watched that monstrosity. James Franklin is trash. Mike Yurcich is trash. That 2-point conversion try where they could have just kicked the field goal to cut it to 8. I know that like the analytics, like complete morons say that go for two, but it makes zero sense. But what were your thoughts? Like, I mean, I watched it. I wasn't like, oh my God, how are we ever going to beat this Michigan team? I was more like, I can't wait to play this Michigan team. But I wanted your thoughts on the game.
I mean, look, let's be honest here. Michigan has I'd say maybe 1.5 core competencies on offensively. Their biggest threat by far is J.J. McCarthy's legs.
Yep.
That opens up the running game. That keeps teams honest. He made so many big plays on third down, running the ball, extending drives. Just the threat of the QB run. This is what we talk about all the time. Just the threat of the QB run with a guy who's just barely competent at it, like McCarthy. Because McCarthy's not a burner. McCarthy's not, he's not Braxton Miller. He's not Terrell Pryor. No. He's just a willing runner on the outside. Yep. And because of that, the Michigan offense then is barely adequate. Now, you know, the concern, I wouldn't call this a concern, but I mean, this is the elephant in the room for Ohio State is, you know what Michigan's going to do. They're going to line up with 9 guys on the line and run the ball straight ahead. And the weakest part of our defense this year has been when teams power ran against us straight ahead. So it's going to be an interesting chess match. It's going to be it's going to be a fun game. But yeah, there was absolutely nothing scary about Michigan today. That is for sure. I mean that game literally hinged on a couple of plays. The Allard fumble at midfield was a killer. The Blake Corn fumble early on that bounced right back up to him. I mean, literally those plays go either way. This game could have been very different, but it wasn't. James Franklin sucks. And Drew Aller is really bad.
Really bad. Christian Hackenberg 2.0.
Really bad. I mean, just has no pocket presence, noodle arm, just slow, just everything about him is just bad. So, hey, it's Michigan. They went into Happy Valley and won. And anytime you win on the road in the Big Ten, it's a big win, but there's nothing scary about that Michigan team. That's for darn sure.
No, I mean it's almost absolutely insane. Yeah, appreciate our boy M. DeLuca 907's already got a super chat cranked up in here. Yeah, he says JJ 7 for 8 for 60 yards passing, 60 yards passing. Drew Aller, a robust 10 for 22 for 70 yards, averaging 3.2 a completion. That is absolutely insane. And I mean, and he's just bad. I mean, the one catch, Caden Saunders is a Westerville kid. The one ball he threw to him on, it was a 4th down conversion, was a terrible throw. I mean, he had to make like a swing all the way back, running the other way. I mean, he's terrible. And I'm like, that kid picked to go play for Mike Yurcich and James Franklin over Ryan Day, throwing to Marvin Harrison and Emeka and these Carnell Tate, like these monsters that we have. And I'm like, because some of these kids, they blow my mind with the decisions they make. Because I mean, Mike Yurcich, you can see why Ryan Day put a bullet in his head after 1 year. I mean, that 2-point play they called him, like they've probably practiced that 2 times all year. And they say, oh, for the biggest moment of the entire season, we're gonna run that right here, the swinging gate, put a lineman to the left, run a little bunch formation, nobody gets open. Always got to throw to like a guy who's stuck like glue to the guy at the back of the end zone, and he throws a ball that he can't even attempt to like contest. So I don't know. I mean, Penn State, they had a shot, but honestly, like deep down, and I know we said this. We don't like rooting for Michigan. We hate Michigan, but like this makes it a lot cleaner for Ohio State to beat Michigan for the playoff picture, because then there's not the the gyrations of, well, Penn State beat Michigan, and Michigan, if they beat Ohio State, and then Ohio State beat Penn State, like that's dead now. I mean, Penn State is dead. They're out of it. They can enjoy the Capital One Bowl. But do you agree with that? I know we talked about that earlier. Like it was actually better that Michigan won this, correct?
Well, I mean, we hate to speak about the unspeakable, but now it opens up the scenario that if Ohio State loses in a competitive game up in Ann Arbor,
No.
that Ohio State's the number 4 seed in the playoff. So, I think we just got to root for some of the, any of the unbeatens to go down. If Washington could go down, that certainly is helpful. We just need one more unbeaten to go down, and I think Ohio State's got a number paths to the playoff that obviously include a win in Ann Arbor, and that's obviously a no-brainer, but that also covers a loss in Ann Arbor, and that was really only a sure thing if Michigan won this week. So, as sad as that was, that's really was the best scenario for Ohio State. And look, nothing's better than beating Michigan. And frankly, part of we can get to the TRO and we can talk about the Michigan situation right now if you want, because part of me,
let's do that.
I mean this sincerely. And you and I haven't talked about it. I want Harbaugh on the sideline when we beat him. I do.
Yep.
I really
totally agree. Totally agree.
I don't want to give them any excuses or any whining or anything. I want them on the sideline. Having said that, not sure if it's going to happen. They went for a TRO to get him to be able to coach today. The judge wouldn't consider it to set a hearing for the 17th. It's in the legal realm now. Nobody can really predict what's going to happen. No, there's nothing magical about this at this point. Will they get it? Will they not get it? I have no idea. What will a local judge up in Ann Arbor do? I would imagine they grant the TRO, but I mean, who the heck knows at this point? And like I said, I don't even care. I think the disruption's been great. The brand destruction's been great. The NCAA hammer is looming. If you have time, if you are a listener to this podcast, please do me a favor. Go read the Big Ten's response to Michigan. It'll take you 5 minutes. Read the response to Michigan. It is so detailed. There's so many great things in there. I can there's a passage in there where the NCAA talks about what they know and can prove, and then they list a set of allegations against Michigan. And you read that and you kind of go, game over, man. Well, like when this is finished, it's game over. There's also a reference in there. It's kind of a throwaway line to a company called U.S. Integrity. Now, again, I would suggest you guys Google U.S. Integrity and see who they are. They are a firm they are basically the firm that handles all the gambling issues regarding line movement, statistical improbabilities, disclosure, and they go through a lot of things. U.S. Integrity could end up being a player in this thing going forward, especially as the Weiss computer access stuff kind of goes forward, because they were the ones that were tipped off initially to Michigan's second half statistically improbable performance for the past 2 years since Connor Stallions came into this. So, that wasn't a throwaway line. There's somebody who could be somebody you want to pay attention to. Nobody's picked up on that. Nobody's really talking about that. But that's an interesting sidelight into that, because they were in there and it widely escaped notice, but they were in there for a reason.
Oh yeah, and like when those guys, I mean that's like the the pit bull getting a hold of the bone right there, man. Because those guys get in, they start again, like when they get into the forensic audits and they start tracking everything and they dig deeper, because guys like that know they know how things roll. They know how to find stuff. I mean, those guys, you do not want to mess around with those. You don't want those guys showing up at your facility and grabbing your laptops and going through everything and scanning through everything, because those guys, they don't play. Because again, there's very sophisticated gambling syndicates that get busted. People that are wicked smart, and so those guys have to be at that level. And when they show up to go against Connor Stallions, like, I mean, it's like it's fish in a barrel at that point. Nevada. What's next? I mean, do you think that it gets granted? Do you think they push pause on the discipline? Do you think, give me your percentage that Jim Harbaugh is on the sideline for the Ohio State Michigan game this year?
Boy, it's so hard. I mean, I hate to do the 50.
No, okay. I mean, you can do that. That's fine. Again, that's again, every day new stuff is found out. So I don't want to pin you to anything on that.
No, like people like to do that, but it's like no. The situation, like I said, once you read that Big Ten letter, first of all, the Michigan letter was a joke. The Michigan 10-page letter was literally a joke. I mean, it was like stuff taken from the internet and stuff that didn't even make any sense. And the Big Ten response was like a masterclass. I mean, it basically refuted every point, kind of walked through everything. And the NCAA is on an accelerated timeline. And you've heard the NCAA quarter saying that they felt that they could conclude their investigation this fall, which would be unbelievably fast in terms of what they're doing. And, you look at the stuff. I mean, just on the face of it right now, if they had nothing else between the fact that Harbaugh is currently part of an NCAA investigation for improper contact, lying to NCAA investigators, and now you throw on top of it the spreadsheet and the sophisticated sign stealing, advanced scouting, electronic surveillance thing that they say they can know and they can prove. I don't know how Michigan fans better enjoy every moment right now, because I truly believe, and you can hold me to this one, this is the end of the line. This is as good as it gets. This is as happy as you're ever going to be. So you better, and if I was an Ohio State fan right now, honestly, I would be despondent. I would be like, oh my, I cannot believe that we allowed this guy to completely destroy our brand, to completely take us to this point. And for what? They're not going to win the national championship. That Michigan team sucks. They're not going to win the national championship. And they're not going to beat any of the big boys. They're just not. You go on a neutral state. You're not going to be able to just line up and run the ball against some of the teams in the college football playoff. That ain't going to happen. I think they're slow. I don't think they have playmakers on the outside. J.J. McCarthy's not some dynamic thrower. So what have you done? What for the last 2 years? You didn't win anything the last 2 years. They didn't win. It's not like they're back-to-back national champions. Yeah, they beat us, but this is what you're wanting to trash your program over, and this is the end. And I know that for the next 10 years we're going to be circling the drain. Boy, it's a terrible bargain that you guys you made a deal with the devil, and you're going to get banned. And that's not just Nevada talk. Read the letter from the Big Ten.
No.
It lays it all out. It's not internet fodder. It's facts, and that's what we're at.
Yeah, we are just analysts. We're not judge, jury, executioner. That's the Big Ten and then the NCAA. All we do is we just read the legalese. We're pretty, we've read a lot of legal documents in the last few years, and frankly, we're really good at analyzing them and figuring out where things are going. And I read that thing, and I was like, that was serious. Again, because Tony Petitti's got all eyes on him. Big Ten's got all eyes on them, so they had to go get the high part. Again, and that's why one of the best points you made all week was when you talked about how, those guys are scared of Tom Mars and some, whatever, law firm. I was like, the Big Ten, they just signed the richest TV deal in history, is scared of any legal team. Give me a break. They'll have the greatest lawyers in the universe. Couple super chats. M. DeLuca, appreciate you, brother, as always. Yeah, I said that earlier. Oh, I didn't put you on the screen, but I appreciate it. JJ7 for 6 years. I mean, there's nothing else to say. And again, the one thing that me and Nevada say consistently is that the QB run is undefeated. I mean, you watch these guys convert on mid-range downs. I mean, if Drew Aller doesn't run, I don't know if they get a first down all day, but he ran and scrambled and converted a few times. I mean, he ran for 49 yards and a rushing touchdown, and he only threw it for 70, which is, that's insanely bad to me. Nick Smith, appreciate you, bro. So obviously Michigan isn't stealing signs, but are they paying the refs now? The refs have been terrible this year. But I mean, I couldn't agree more. But I don't think it mattered. I think the real culpability is, Penn State, for one, their quarterback is absolutely. That's as bad. That was Christian Hackenberg 2.0. I listen to all these analysts and all these recruiting gurus say, "Oh yeah, he can stroke it. Oh, he's great." And then I watch this guy throw it. I'm like, dude, he can't hit open guys. And with good protection, and he sees ghosts in the pocket, man. And when they need him the most, he delivers the least. That is like a death knell to a program. I would be in the portal tonight looking for a guy that can actually play, because you can't win with that guy. M. DeLuca 907. We're going to eat scum alive if we ever want to punch of Trey in the wide receiver group. Crockett and Ransom, we're going to put JJ's place. Dude, I'm telling you, and I appreciate the love. Main State, love the show. We love you, dude. We love all you guys that tune in every day. Again, we appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. But I agree. if you say, Kirk, gun to your head, which type of offense, if I'm the D coordinator and I'm Jim Knowles, and you say, okay, what do we have to do? Give me that thing where they put 7 offensive linemen on the field. Like, give me that every day, all day. Like, that's not defending Marvin Harrison in space or Emeka in space or Trey Henderson on a pass pattern, when he can get loose. Like, that is their stuff is like the barbarian offense. It's like put 7 guys across the line, run zone one side or the other. I mean, that is so easy to stop when you have fast athletic guys. Like, again, our ends have been fantastic playing the run. I know they get whipped to death because they don't have 10 sacks each, but man, Jack Sawyer and JT are really playing the run well. And again, I know that Tyleek, we need guys like Mike Hall to step up in the run game and do the best they can, because Mike's a light dude. Like, that is not his forte. So, I mean, if I was those guys, I'd run at Mike probably every play, because he weighs about 270 right now. And, it's going to be a Cody Simon, Tommy Eichenberg type of game. It'll be interesting to see I doubt we see Tommy tonight. Barb, appreciate you, my friend. Players are making me sick talking about God after losing their integrity. At what point did they know recruiting first game? I mean, honestly, Barb, if I'm a player, and again, you're on the sideline now, and again, everybody knows, but it's like when you're seeing signals, like if you're one of the defensive ends and you're watching all your boys go like this, and it's like a pass every time, they're pointing to the sky like it's a pass, or to the ground like it's a run, or they're signaling in stuff to the linebackers. You say, hey, it's screen left, and eventually, like, you're like, okay, like, what's the gig? That all of a sudden we're getting into the correct call every single time. Nevada, when do you think they knew?
Oh, I think they've known for a while. Like you said, players aren't dumb. I mean, they're not dumb. They may not have been aware about the whole thing, but like the fact that he was so uncanny, and the fact that, there's no way that you're, as a player, and this from being a player and a coach and an All-American. See, like who is that guy that's sitting right on the coach's shoulder? There's got to be some intellectual curiosity where you're looking at him and you're kind of going,
well, wow, and he's some intern. He's some intern. I mean, he's not making 500,000. He's not Parker Fleming, $500,000 man. I mean, he's an intern, and these coaches are like taking advice from an intern. That doesn't exist in football anywhere. But go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, no, I just think that immediately would send off a 5-alarm fire where you're kind of going, wait a second. Look, maybe I don't know everything, but. And also, Connor Stalions, he wasn't exactly subtle about the stuff that he was doing. He was hiring. He hired
jumping up and down on the sidelines, and come on.
But look at the people he hired. One of the people that was on that spreadsheet was the pedophile, the guy that was at the Walmart to meet the Lynn. He hired the pedophile to go.
Oh my God.
Do the videoing. So like, you're telling me that not everybody in the place knew? The pedophile knew. So like, everybody knew, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I agree. Appreciate that. Warpath, love the name. My wife went to Florida State, so love that. Is this scandal on the same level as the 1919 Black Sox when they fixed the World Series? That's probably the worst of all time, but this is probably 2. What are your thoughts, Nevada?
Yeah, I think that's probably worse when you actually
fix the World Series, like,
yeah, when you allegedly, surely Jackson's frame. But no, I think this is the worst college football on-field scandal of all time. Mm-hmm. I think that's without hyperbole. I think you can go back, emphasis on the word on-field. We're not drawing, equivalencies to child rape or assault, or we've had players murder people. So I'm not saying it's the same thing as that. But in terms of an on-field scandal, worse than college football history by far.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Lord Vader Kush. That is a sick name. Lord Vader Kush. That's amazing. They are who we thought they were. Our defense is way too physical for these guys, and we'll get the last half. I'm telling you, man, like, Jim Knowles has been good. Jim Knowles has been real good. I look at that barbarian scheme of running zone, and like, I love when, these guys, he's announced like, oh my God, they're bringing in 7 and 8 offensive linemen. I'm like, dude, that is the easiest thing in the universe to defend, because you literally, they had one guy that was in a tight end number in like 93 or whatever, but the other guy's literally in an ineligible number. So you limit the number of eligible receivers on the field. So, you can match it and bring in a third linebacker, bring in Cody Simon, bring Josh Proctor into the box. Josh Proctor plays like a linebacker. He's a man. So, again, get Lathan back, get Proc going, Sonny Styles. Because we've got big, physical, angular guys that can match that. Penn State safeties were like ballerinas back there. They wanted nothing to do with getting some of that action. So, and that hurt them. There were times where the safeties could stepped up and got the guy on the ground, and they just wanted nothing to do with it. So, but yeah, I agree with you on that.
Well,
so,
also to that point, I mean, remember early in the game when Michigan was trying to pass, like they couldn't block the defensive ends.
No.
They could not block. So they're going to block JT and Jackson. No, they're going to try to line it up and run it. And the good thing is Knowles knows that. And like you said, we've got guys. We haven't particularly committed guys to stopping the run in some of these situations. We've been vulnerable to some of the power game, but Knowles is not dumb. And like you said, we've got dudes that can get it done against an offense like that. There's nothing about their offense that is scary. I mean, I'd be much more afraid of a diverse, multiple offense that can actually push the ball downfield, had a great tight end, had a burner on wide receiver. I mean, this game is going to be played in a phone booth, and I'm okay with that. And maybe Michigan will get called for a hold, maybe just once. Like
never
Come
ever.
On,
no, I mean, I think about the offenses we went against like in the early 2000s, like the games I specifically played in. They had like Braylon Edwards, like a top 3 pick at wide receiver. They had, Chad Henne, played 15 years in the NFL at quarterback. They had Mike Hart, the all-time leading rusher. They had Manningham, who was a monster. Jake Long at left tackle. I mean, their left tackle is a big fat doughboy. I was watching him today. He's a kid from Arizona State. I was like, JT should kill. I mean, if JT can dog out Olu, the guy who's a top 10 pick from Penn State, he's going to kill that guy. I mean, that guy's terrible. I was like, that's not Jake Long or Taylor Lewan or one of their prototype, like Michigan first round tackles. That guy's like an undrafted guy. I mean, I watched him. I was like, he has no power. Looks like he's never squatted in his life. And I don't know. I mean, they better eat their Wheaties for JT, man. Because I'm telling you, JT's a gangster. All right, Zach, appreciate you, brother, for the 2. Same Michigan, same offense. Their D is decent. Like, again, I don't think this Michigan team's anywhere near as good as 2 years ago. I mean, when they had Hutchinson and they had Mozzie Smith and some of those guys in the front, those are legit dudes, first, second round type dudes. I mean, Hutchinson was a shooting star, second overall pick type guy. They don't have anything like that. Chris Jenkins, their DTs they're legit. I mean, they're good players. We're going to get right for those guys. But Matt Jones has been really good. I mean, Matt Jones is probably going to be all Big Ten this year. So, again, it's kind of a strength on strength that, if Carson can just, eat his Wheaties and hang in there, then I think we're going to be in really good shape running the ball. But again, you saw what Kyle McCord, who our entire fan base hates, did against Penn State, and then you see what JJ McCarthy did against Penn State. So, I think that McCord's better. I mean, I think he's better than either of those 2 quarterbacks. I mean, everyone loves JJ McCarthy and thinks he's going to the Heisman. I'm like, dude, I watched that today. That was absolutely atrocious. And they don't really have any good skill players. My mom wants to know if you think Ryan Day hates Michigan more than Woody or Earl Bruce did. It's important to the rivalry. I think he can try to. And Ryan always says all the right things, but he didn't grow up in the rivalry like people from Ohio did, like Trussell did, and Woody and Urban, and he's from New Hampshire. And again, this isn't a bad thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but he didn't grow up in Akron or Canton or Berea like Truss did. So. But I think he hates them because, again, the last 2 years when he's lost to him, it's not just Ryan that has to get, the hellfire and brimstone rained down on him. I mean, his family has to deal with that, his coaching staff. It's like everywhere he goes, he hears the whispers because it's impossible to ignore. Like, I mean, my freshman year when I redshirted, I did not play in the game. I didn't even travel to the game, and we lost. And I remember how absolutely terrible that was. But, I didn't really feel like when you're a redshirt guy and they leave you at home and you're sitting in the dorm watching, you don't really feel like you're part of the team. So, I mean, you count it because you're on the team, but you're not really, you don't play. And I wasn't even in the stadium. So it's but then you remember how it was that December afterwards. And it was literally the most effing miserable thing I've ever been through in my life. And I was like, I don't ever want to deal with this again, ever. So, I mean, that's something that Ryan's had to deal with for 2 years in a row. And, he's got all the marbles this year, man, because we've got a way better team than they are. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen them with my eyes. I've studied them, and we've got massive advantages at skill spots for running back. I think Trey Henderson is much better than either of the guys they have. I think our line is on par with Michigan's. I don't think Michigan is some dominating force like they were. And I didn't think they were that great last year. We just gave up a bunch of 80-yard runs where one guy, Tommy Eichenberg's in the wrong gap. But it wasn't and I think last year's Michigan line was much better than this year's Michigan line. The one 2 years ago was better than last year's. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. Your thoughts on that, Nevada?
Yeah, I don't think they're. I mean, look, and last year, we broke it down. I mean, until those 2 runs at the end where they knew what was coming and they ran to the opposite side, we had completely shut down their running game, and we
Yeah.
completely. I mean, they were averaging like 2.5 a carriers, and it was. I think they were like 26 carries for 85 yards, 84 yards. I mean, it wasn't great, and yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be anytime you go up to Ann Arbor, it's going to be a supercharged environment. This
Oh
year
yeah.
will be beyond supercharged. It's any fans that are going up there, man. I absolutely salute you because I think that is going to be I really think it's going to be dangerous because I really think that their fans are lunatics. When you see the president of their university with
Whew. Bet.
tweeting bet, like what? I mean, I really think that kind of summed up the whole thing for me right there. You just realize it's like, is that just are they just the least common denominator, soldier soul, low class, embarrassing outfit when the president of the university is tweeting bet? I mean, I don't have any words.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange. I mean, I mean, it's like booking a reservation on the Titanic as it hits the iceberg. You're just like, okay, well, it sounds like a great idea, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to be too close to that thing because once the missile strikes, once the drone strike hits from the NCAA, man, there's not going to be anything left at Schembechler Hall. They're going to have a whole new staff, whole new everything. So, and they could be sanctioned into infinity after this. But well, we got Michigan State tonight. It's the wonderful night game versus a 40-point dog or whatever it is now. What are your thoughts on this one? What do we need to get out of it? I think that we're not going to see Cade Stover, Eichenberg. I think they're going to hold a lot of guys tonight. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it just feels very undery to me. I think I think I'm probably going to go heavy on that. I like Ohio State against the spread, but I don't love Ohio State against the spread just because, like you said, there's so much uncertainty about who's going to play and who's not going to play. But I do like the under an awful lot, so I'm going to be betting the under tonight.
I like it. Yeah, I think it'll be dominating effort. I mean, Michigan State, once they put the bullet in Mel Tucker's head, man, it was over. So, I think that's part of these games. Like when a coach screws up and he gets whacked early in the season, you get the interim staff, and that whole staff's a lame duck. They're going to go after someone like Lance Leopold to be their next guy, and it affects the whole team when and there's guys going to hit the portal and get out of there. So it's basketball season for Michigan State, but we have to play and make sure that we beat them like it's basketball season at Michigan State. So we are going to have a post game show tonight. So probably hour or two after the game, all depending on the traffic. So I'd love for you guys to stay up late if you guys are kicking it, watching Pac-12 After Dark. Keep out for that. Look out for that alert on your phone. Any final thoughts, Nevada?
No, just need some help. Maybe get some luck and maybe Utah take down Washington. I haven't seen the score, so when I've been on this, maybe that game's already 80-0 or something. But root for Utah against Washington. That would open up that path for Ohio State. So let's go Utes.
I absolutely love it. All right, see my man. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. We will have a post-game show late once I get back to the mothership from the stadium. The traffic can be a little sketchy sometimes, so I'll let you guys know. We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, if you enjoy this, leave a like, click subscribe, also click the little alert bar. What are your plans for the game? Shout out where you guys are watching from. Put that down in the comments. And project who's going to be your MVP on offense and defense. So I'd love to see what you guys write. I love reading your comments, so I appreciate you guys. As always, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. I'll see you guys later on tonight for our post-game show on BuckeyeScoop.com's YouTube channel. And join BuckeyeScoop.com for the most crazy game thread and inside information experience that there is for the Ohio State football sphere. So I appreciate you. Go Bucks.